Hi, and welcome to our Tuesday live leadership coaching chats. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to be more coach-like in your leadership conversations. In particular, avoiding the advice trap. Advice is overrated. Not the advice itself. There is a time and a place for good advice. But I think the difficulty is that we often default to advice giving. It's quicker, it's easier, and we've already worked through the problem ourselves. So if they just did what we did, then everything would be all good, right? The problem, as Michael Bungay Stainer says in his book, The Advice Trap, is that the more we give advice, the more they want our advice. So people just keep coming back for more and more. And in turn, they stop developing, they stop growing, and they stagnate. We can all probably think of times when we were given advice that we didn't agree with. The person just didn't understand or get us. They didn't appreciate our situation or our culture or our context. And the advice just didn't match. When that's happened to me, I felt sad, I've felt frustrated, resentful, insecure, confused, unheard, and disorientated. And the reality is I don't want anyone who's been a part or I've been in conversation with to be feeling any of those emotions as they leave a conversation with me. So as a leader, I want to really choose to be intentional to try and reduce that. And what I've learned is to try and resist the temptation of giving advice and ask a question instead. My name's Kylie Butler, and I'm a part of Christian Coaching Institute, which is Australia's leading Christian coaching organisation. And we've been coaching and training leaders in coaching for over 10 years now. So coaching is not about giving advice to people. Coaching is about creating a safe place for people to realise and create their own solutions. Let's have a little bit of a reality check for a moment. Most people know the answers to their most seemingly insurmountable challenges and the most complicated situations. They just need space, time, and acceptance to feel and then to think their way through their fears and difficulties and complications. We hire coaches and we confide in our friends and significant others, not for advice, but mostly to hold the space for us as we feel and think our way through. We need our messy, muddled, misled parts to be heard in order to feel safe to express our deepest and most real thoughts. When we feel supported in this way, we relax, we stop beating ourselves up, and what happens is our brain stops overprotecting or self-protecting, and we stop pretending and trying to figure out all of the right answers. What happens is we then start to engage the executive center of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, the place that can actually make good decisions, instead of sitting in the self-protective part of our brain, which is the amygdala, the piece that is fight, freeze, or flee. And we have then the ability to be able to evaluate the situation and come up with solutions that ring true for us. There are 3 ways I want to encourage you in order to avoid the advice giving trap. The first one is to let people unload. One of the first things we can do as a coach or leaders using coaching skills is let your coachee unload all of their feelings, their thoughts, emotions, to get it all out. Otherwise, we and them have no idea what we're really grappling with. We're not getting to the deeper part of the issue. If we're too quick to move to advice, then even if we are giving advice, the advice that we're giving is surface level rather than actually to the real issue that's underlying for somebody. The second area is to stay out of judgment. We can't create a safe place for people, allowing them to actually work through their frustration and thinking it all through if we're judging them, even if we're judging them in our own mindset. So stay out of judgment, but staying out of judgment is actually not that easy to do. It is actually about letting go of our own ego, dying to ourselves for the sake of the person that's on the other side of the table or the other side of the screen. It's about taking a posture of curiosity and wonder and exploring rather than judgment. And number 3 is around asking questions. Once we've let our coachees unload and we have stayed in that curious place, now it's time for us to actually reflect back and ask an insightful question. Something like, what is most important to you in this situation and how come? What do you think is the main thing to address here? What would your advice be to me if I came to you for help with this? You know, it's a little bit of a flip around of a question there. And how is this problem actually serving you? You notice here, I'm simply asking questions to help them think through and hold the space for them while they're doing that. Asking questions is so powerful, and a great question can show genuine respect, care, and belief in the person that we are meeting with. If you're interested in reducing your advice giving and empowering people through powerful questions, deeper listening, and building better relationships, why not join me and the CCI team for our September Coach Mastery cohort? It's our 4th cohort and final cohort for 2020. It runs for 12 weeks via Zoom, and you'll be with other leaders who are wanting to increase their coaching skills from all across the country. We've been running our Coach Mastery course for over 10 years, but in particular, we've been doing it online for over 2 years. And we wanted to really make it accessible to people anywhere. And so we've learned some key ways of running training, so it actually has a high relational factor as if it was an in-person course. I'll put the link in the comments below. So what have we talked around today, particularly around advice giving? Advice giving can seem quick and easy, but it's actually not transformational for the leaders that we're working with. And there are kind of 3 key things that we can do to get out of the habit of advice giving. The first one is to let your coachee or the leaders that you're working with unload. Help them to get it all out. The second one is to stay out of judgment. Stay in the curious exploration space of, I wonder where this might go today. And then number 3 is asking insightful and powerful questions. When you're tempted to give advice, just pause for a moment and think, what question could I ask instead? Been great to meet with you today, and look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Have a great day.